Ari, welcome back to another episode this week. Aren't we thrilled to be here?
When I tell you, can you hear? You can't hear my fan in the background, can you?
No, I can't hear it at all.
It is thankfully not as hot as it was yesterday, but it is for British people, for British people here, people living in the UK. Because I guess I can't really call myself British. It's 75 degrees. I don't know what it is in Celsius because I have Fahrenheit turned on, obviously.
Yeah.
Yesterday, it was like high 80s. And let me just tell you that the houses are not built for it, y'all. We got home I got dinner with Adam's mother yesterday, Nan, because she was in town.
She was in town.
She was in London, so we went down to London. But when we were driving back, we didn't get back until maybe 10:30, 11. And then it was still hot in the house, even after the sun had gone down, and it was cool outside. We walked into our house and we were like, oh, the heat just hit us. So thankfully today it is 75. It's not in the high 80s. But yesterday we were just sitting in the living room, baking. Both took cold showers. Michael took Petunia. 2. It was yes, that was me. So I have a slight dewy glisten, and that is 100% because it's hot. It's not a highlight. How are you? How's the weather over there?
Oh, it's fine.
Just normal summer in Chicago.
Nothing really going on. We did have the last Sunday and Monday, this past Sunday, Monday, that is as of recording, we had 25 tornadoes come through the Chicagoland area. We had
25?
Yeah. They were all short, they weren't a long distance, and they were most of them, I think only a couple made it to F2. Most of them were F0 or F1, which is pretty small.
Crazy.
But yeah, it was an insane amount of. We had a big the entire state was covered at one point, and the storm kind of curved like this, which then caused it to keep spinning off because they would just whip themselves up into a tornado. It was crazy.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
And we just hung out in the attic the whole time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and you don't have a bait. Where are you supposed to go if there's a tornado?
We have in our back stairwell at the very bottom, there's a place for bike storage. That's where we would have gone.
So that's where you guys would go if you needed
to. And RJ, yes. And obviously RJ did not grow up with tornadoes, so he always just defers to me. And I was just watching out the window being I'm not feeling nervous.
It's not that bad.
I'm not feeling nervous.
I'm not scared of her.
The sirens were going off, and I was when I see if I start to see trees whipping around, then I would be okay, let's go downstairs. But I didn't even really see a ton of wind where we were. Well, Ari, this week we read chapter 12 called Silver and Opals. What happens in the chapter?
Oh, okay. I didn't think of a summary for this one. The gang is back at Hogsmeade. Right? Gang ventures out to Hogsmeade and witnesses a very frightening scene on their way back to the castle. Hagrid helps them out, and then Harry shares his theory with Professor McGonagall.
Yes.
Is that good?
There's an attack. There's an attack.
Someone is cursed. Someone is cursed. And Hagrid helps them up to the hospital wing. So the chapter opens literally with, where was Dumbledore and what was he doing? Did you laugh at this? I don't know why.
Where was Dumbledore? What was Dumbledore doing?
And what was he doing?
Yeah.
I don't know why it made me giggle. He's not been seen at any of the meals. He's not in the Great Hall when everyone's eating. Harry thinks that he is in fact gone for days at a time, like Hermione said. And then Harry, you just pissed me off so fast in this chapter. He was he wondered if Dumbledore had forgotten his lessons. And I was bitch, Dumbledore doesn't forget shit. Okay? He's doing stuff. The fact that you're sitting there being oh, did he forget about me? Wow, I feel really abandoned. I was go touch grass. I just was you need to stop. Not everything is about you. Don't you think if he's literally outside of the castle, something really important is going on? Girl.
You would hope that he would think that, but unfortunately, Harry cannot get out of his own mental box.
And the thing that is the most annoying about it is what Dumbledore is doing actually does have to do with Harry.
Correct.
And he's like, how dare he abandon me? I'm just left all alone here with the 400 other Hogwarts students that he never pays attention to.
The problem is that Harry wants immediate answers to all of his questions, and Dumbledore still doesn't. I mean, Dumbledore knows more than he has told Harry at this point for sure. But he's
working on it, though.
He still does not have answers to everything that Harry wants to know. So Harry would still be annoyed no matter what.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, he's trying. Like, it's just annoying. It was so quick. It was just so fast that he jumped to like, does he even care about me anymore? Like, he doesn't even know I exist. Like,
I think Harry's fully annoying, but I'm gonna say Dumbledore is shirking his headmaster responsibilities, and I think that is a dereliction of duty to these students and the faculty, to be quite honest.
Yeah, give Minerva a raise. Okay?
Yeah.
Minerva's taking on all the leftover stuff that Dumbledore's not doing right now.
Annoying.
So as the week progresses, it is then time for their first Hogsmeade trip of the year. I was like, this is like pretty quick. This is chapter 12.
It says it's
we're like already going to
October. When we but I feel like the beginning of the year like has like flown by.
Yeah. So Harry's laying in bed. It's a Saturday that they're going to go to Hogsmeade. Harry's laying in bed, reading advanced potion making, the Princess copy, of course, in his bed. Just like giving it a little look-see over, or a little look over. And Harry's he's pretty convinced that there's these spells that have been written in it or written by the prince. Like the prince has created these spells. I was like, is this is just a thing? You can just like invent a spell. Anyone can.
This is so crazy to drop huge lore about spell creation in the middle of the 6th book in a franchise.
I was like, is this just how it happens? And then you get like a little like patent for your spell. To be like, I created it.
How it works, yeah, probably.
Cool. So,
and I guess
fun.
You just have to know Latin is really the root of it.
Yeah,
you have to know the Latin word for whatever you're trying to do.
I was like, I mean, all right, cool.
I am obsessed with the fact that Harry's so dumb that he couldn't figure out Levicorpus, what Levicorpus would do. It's actually really clear what Levicorpus would do.
Let me try it out. I wonder what this one could be. Let me just give it a quick try. So he's reading, speaking of Levicorpus, he decides to test out Levicorpus. This is not the first spell that he has tested out, though. He tested out this spell that makes toenails grow really long on Crabbe in the hallway. And then he also tested a spell that glues your tongue to the roof of your mouth. So basically mewing. Have you done mewing?
No, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
It's like a facial exercise. Where you like push your tongue into the roof of your mouth and it's supposed to like tighten your jawline, enhance your jawline. It like eliminates whatever when we like relax and we like this relaxes.
Oh yeah. The grandma
if you
chin.
mew, it like lifts it.
Ooh,
you feel yeah. So if you feel underneath, it's like not soft, it's like engaged. So he basically So he basically forced Filch to do that without his consent. But the best spell that they discovered is the Muffliato spell, which just muffles their surrounding area if they're having a conversation so people can't overhear them. So yes, Harry discovers Levicorpus, and there's
a lot of what I would consider dark magic spells in here.
Which is what Hermione says. Hermione's like, I think this is like a kind of sketchy person, actually. I think we need to be wary of them. Yeah. But Harry and Ron just are not having it. So
no.
Harry sees next to Levicorpus NVBL, which he's like, that's gotta mean nonverbal. So he thinks this in his head and is kind of like, oh, even though I'm struggling, the prince has been a better teacher than Snape. Remember that. He's like, oh, he's been a better teacher than Snape has been because I've been struggling with it in class with him, but maybe I can do it now. So he points his wand at nothing in particular and then in his head thinks Levi Corpus. And then suddenly Ron yells and he's been pulled upside down out of his bed and is like just dangling in midair.
Yeah.
So Harry's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. My bad. The other boys in the room are laughing. And then he's like, oh, let me look and try and find something to bring you back down. Yeah. And then he sees a counter spell. He hopes this thing that he sees is a counter spell. He doesn't know for sure. And then he thinks it really hard in his head, which I was like, first off, why don't you just say it to be sure? But also like, you're just going to try that too? I don't know. I was just like, I think after something like that, I would be like, I don't know if I want to try this. But I guess he wants to help Ron get back down. I don't know. So Ron's like,
yeah, how long would he be stuck up there if he didn't do the counter jinx?
Forever. He just has to live
the rest of his
life upside down as like a bat.
Oh!
Yeah. So then Ron's like, well, next time just use the alarm, please. Just use your alarm clock. Ha ha. So then later, as they're heading down to the Great Hall.
Aren't alarm clocks Muggle inventions?
Yeah, I don't know. This is where it's like, I'm sorry, are you saying you have a Muggle alarm clock in the room? You choose to use an alarm clock here? But like, you don't want to use, I don't know, batteries or just a phone to text someone. I don't know. Anyways, once Ron has actually like woken up and they're heading down to the Great Hall, he thinks it's hilarious and he's like retelling the story for Hermione. Hermione doesn't like that this happened. She's not pleased with Harry just testing out these spells randomly
on a prefect.
And then she also says that she thinks that the prince is like a dodgy sort of character. So then Harry has this moment where he's like, wait, because Hermione's like, who would do that anyway? Who thinks it's funny to like pull someone up in the air by their foot and dangle them upside down? That sounds awful. And Harry's like, oh, do you know what? Actually, my dad did that. And we, of course, as the readers, know that he knows this because of the memory that he went into of Snape. Yeah. But he lies and says, Lupin told me, which is, I'm like, okay, you're trying to tell them that Lupin was like, oh yeah, your dad used this charm. It's called Levi Corpus. Remember that? Yeah. He used it all the time. In fact, here's like a very specific memory where I remember him using it. I just was like, all right, girl. But Hermione and Ron don't really ask about that. They're like, well, whatever. And then Harry's like, could the half-blooded prince be my dad, James Potter? Could it be? And then Hermione's like, I was actually thinking that it reminded me of someone else that we saw using this at the World Cup. They were using it on a bunch of muggles. And then Harry's like, oh, I don't like thinking about that. And then Ron's like, well, they were like misusing it, or like they were like being malicious with how they used it. And he was like, that's not what like Harry's dad and who was the other person that used it? Was there someone else?
Wasn't it Sirius? No.
Harry and Sirius. He said something like, oh, him and so they weren't doing it in that way. They were just having a laugh. She
just turned on because I said Sirius. Oh, Siri. Yeah. And she was like, yes. Siri.
Oh, wait, mine might. I was like, mine might come on now. No, it didn't. So they discuss the Death Eaters a little bit more. Then Ginny approaches and like interrupts this conversation with a note from Dumbledore. And that is, the note obviously is mentioning like when their next lesson is going to be. It's going to be on Monday. So Harry's like in a good mood, so he invites Ginny to Hogsmeade, and I thought that was like kind of weird that she mentioned that, because I was like, I'm sorry, are you telling me if he was in a bad mood, he like wouldn't invite her? So like he only wants her to be around when he's like happy, and I don't know, something about that rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, you're picking and choosing. What?
I'm gonna grab my book. 1 second.
Oh, okay. I was like, you're picking and choosing when you want to spend time, like when you want her to be around you. And I didn't like that.
Do you know the part we were talking about where the princess proved to be a better teacher than Snape? You listen to this book. So let me tell you what it says textually.
Oh, okay.
Right before this, Harry rather doubted he would be able to bring off this particular spell. He was still having difficulty with nonverbal spells, something Snape had been quick to comment on in every DADA class. She has never abbreviated Defense Against the Dark Arts.
What? I don't think, I'm pretty sure when I listened to it, I don't think it's
DA.
What?
I didn't like that at all. Girl, this is the time you decide that you wanna
Nothing in particular. He gave it an upward flick.
Oh wait.
Had been quick to comment on in every DADA class.
I didn't even peep that. DADA. Girl.
No one has ever referred to it as that. I hated it.
Book 6.
The other thing that bothered me was when she comes up. This is the way Wait, what? I'm going to read the sentence to you. I'm going to have to lead into it. And they'd love to have me, said Harry sarcastically. We'd be best pals if they didn't keep trying to do me in. This made Ron laugh. Even Hermione gave a grudging smile, and a distraction arrived in the shape of Ginny.
Ew, yeah.
I'd go back to the drawing board on that one. Yeah. I don't like just be like, and then Ginny walked up. There is a level of like,
and then Harry saw Ginny. Also, again,
we don't need to gild the lily.
A woman wrote this. A woman wrote this about a female character.
I know that she does not mean it the way it sounds, but it's just a weird way to phrase
Are you sure?
it. I mean, I'm pretty sure, but I guess we don't know for certain. It's just like a really weird phrasing that doesn't, I don't know. It didn't work for me. Let's say that.
That's so funny. I missed that, but I was so annoyed by the fact of what she said, how Harry was like in a good mood and then invited Ginny. I was like, all right, weirdo. Mm-hmm. So he invites her to go to Hogsmeade with them, but she's going with Dean. It's very cold outside, apparently. They get prodded by Filch as they're heading to Hogsmeade. He's like checking them. Yeah. To which Ron points out, he's like, why are you checking us before we go? Like, we're leaving. So why are you checking us when we're leaving the castle? And then I guess that earns him a couple extra prods, which I was like, where is he prodding them?
You know what? I'm with Filch on this one. I don't need your fucking cheek from a fucking 17-year-old. Get out of my face.
I don't need that cheek. Yeah.
I don't want to hear you.
I'm a squib working this
job.
I'm a squib. So shut up.
My whole job sucks.
So as they're walking, they head to Honeyduke's and then they run into Slughorn. Harry's like, oh shit, not this guy. And then he immediately starts giving Harry a hard time for missing all 3 of his last parties.
Ooh, Harry.
Ooh, Harry, my boy. Slughorn's like, oh, you have to come. I just simply can't. I simply have to like nail you down for one of these. I have to get you to come. Can't avoid me forever. And then he's like, Hermione loves Miss Granger. He always calls him Miss Granger, Mr. Zabini, Mr. Blaze, Mr. Blaze Zabini. Yeah, Zabini. I forgot if Blaze was his first or last name for a second. I was like, wait, what's his first name? What's his last name? Zabini. And he's like, oh, Miss Granger loves them. And she's like, yeah, they're really. And then he just like starts talking over her. He's like, well, what about Monday? Can you come on Monday? He's like, oh, I can't. I have a an appointment with Dumbledore then. And then Slughorn's like, oh, God damn it. Like, he's just like devastated. He's like, oh my God, well, you can't avoid me forever. Eventually I'll be able to get you to come. And then he literally walks away, not saying anything to Ron at all. Like, Ron literally doesn't exist.
Yep.
So then I think they like walk out of Honeydukes. They're walking around a little bit. Then Harry's like, let's go to the Three Broomsticks because it'll be warm in there and it's nice. It's really cold out. It's like horrible, snowy, windy. Terrible.
Does it totally make sense that he doesn't care about Ron at all when Ron's dad is like constantly in the papers as a person at the Ministry of Magic?
I think just because he doesn't know Arthur. He doesn't have an investment in Arthur.
I guess.
The only thing that I feel like where it should change is if Ron does really well in the Quidditch game. I felt like I can't remember. I don't think it ever changes, but that's the time where I feel like he should kind of take notice of Ron. Yeah, so they're heading towards the Three Broomsticks. As they're approaching the Three Broomsticks, there is a tall pub owner from the Hogshead.
Yes, the tall pub owner from the Hogshead.
Yeah, no name. It appears that he's just got something from the squat little wizard that is also there, and he's walking away back down the high street. They realize that the squat little man is Mundungus Fletcher.
Mundungus. I don't listen. If you've read the series, you know that the man who owns the Hogshead Inn is a very important character. I just feel like this town is so small. I don't know how everyone doesn't know everybody else's business.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's
not
like
a
the
common
adults.
last name.
Maybe it's like the adults know. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. The adults know, but they don't like talk about it with the kids or something.
Rosemerta is her first name. Rosemerta is her first name.
Yeah, Madame Rosemerta.
Okay.
So maybe they just call him Aberforth, and that's it. Yeah. They don't bother with surnames here. So yeah, they see Mundungus. They're like, "Oh hey," and then he like drops all the stuff he's holding, and then he looks very eager to like get out of there. So he's like rushing to pick everything up, and so then Ron grabs something, and he's like, "Give me that! Don't touch that! It's a silver goblet." And then Harry, realizing what's going on, pins Mundungus to the wall of the pub by the throat. And he realizes that Mundungus took these things from Sirius's house. So he's furious. He demands that Mundungus give this to him. Mundungus is like turning blue. So he casts some type of spell at Harry. Non-verbal.
Non-verbal?
Yeah.
NVBL?
Non-verbal spell. To get Harry off of him. And then he like apparates out of there with everything. And Harry is like furious. He's like spinning on the spot, like yelling at him to get back. I'm like,
yelling at air.
Harry, you do know how apparition works, right?
He's very familiar at this point. Why?
Tonks.
Why is he mad?
Just because I think it's just literally the wound of Sirius's things are being like, what is it called? Piffled. What is it called?
Pilfered. I feel like, I mean, from what we know of Sirius in the Black House, he didn't even want to be there. He wanted nothing to do with the house.
Sirius himself doesn't care about any of the stuff.
And then later Hermione's like, I understand, I'd be upset too if I were you since they're your things. And then Harry was like, they're my fucking things.
Yeah,
and I was
it's my stuff.
You want black family heirlooms, Harry?
Get rid of it. Get all of it out of there. I don't need.
I would have been
that.
like,
I guess
I would have yelled at Mundungus and been like, just asked me and I would have let you do this for like, I would have made it easier for you to do this.
Yeah.
I don't want any of this stuff to exist anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also just the fact that he's getting money for something that he stole, obviously. Like, so ethically, Harry, and because it's Sirius's stuff, because it's a person he has a connection to, I think there's just an ethical, like, it's not right thing too about it. Like, more, I'm not
saying Mundungus Fletcher is right for what he's doing, by the way. I just think Harry's reaction is so severe that I was like,
yeah, by how little he cares about like anything else, and like you said, how little Sirius cared for like any of the stuff there. So Tonks walks up and she's like not helpful at all. Once again, she's just like, well, he's in London now and he can't hear you, which again, I was like, that's what we're saying. Like,
yeah,
I understand what Tonks says isn't helpful, but I'm like, but she's not wrong. Like,
yeah,
she's
stop
right.
doing this. You look stupid.
So then she's like, well, you better get inside or something like that. She says to them, they better like, go get warm. So then they go into Three Broomsticks and Harry's like fuming. Hermione goes and gets them all some butter beer. Harry's like, why can't the Order control his ass? Damn it. They need to tell him to get it together. And Hermione's like, I know that you're upset. It's your stuff he's stealing after all. And then Harry's like, yeah,
because Harry wants more money, so he should be allowed to sell his thing.
Again, here, do something with that stuff. Sell it and give the money to the Weasleys. Hello. You literally have like so many opportunities.
St. Mungos. I don't care what you give it to. Throw it in the fountain at the Ministry of Magic. I do not care what you do with that
money. Throw
it
in the fountain.
Yes. To a Muggle institution. I don't give a fuck.
So after Harry's like, yeah, it's my stuff. That's why I'm mad. Ron's caught looking at Madame Rosmerta by Hermione. Hermione looking for her. She's not there. She's not there. Remember this, that she's not there. Madame Rosmerta. They didn't see her, Adam. They didn't see her when they were in the Three Broomsticks. She was missing in action.
Yeah.
So Hermione's like, oh, you're looking for, I'd expect like so-and-so's in the back getting some more booze, or some more,
because we're going to do this every fucking chapter for the rest of this book.
I was just going to say, there's like another quip. And then for the rest of the time, Hermione's looking between like Ron in the bar for where Madame Rosmerta might reappear.
She's busy.
So, yeah, she's doing something. So it's not really like a nice visit. Like it's not really nice Hogsmeade trip. They're both kind of just like, all right, let's go back.
I'm gonna be so honest. I don't even care that it was like, oh, it's a Hogsmeade trip. It is. They say that it is sleeting outside. I would have been like, no, I'm staying in bed.
I'm staying here.
I'm going to take a nap all day long. I'm going to sit by a fireplace and read a book. Sleet?
Yeah, you don't need to go.
Sleet is the worst of all precipitation. I would rather go out in a thunderstorm than sleet.
You don't need to go at all. There's probably so many different places in the castle that like they've never even explored.
Exactly.
So so they're heading back. They're like, let's just go back to the castle. It hasn't been a very nice trip to Hogsmeade. So they're heading back. They're following Katie Bell and a friend who we don't know her name yet out of the pub. They are walking back up the high street towards the castle. Harry's scowling because he randomly thinks about how Ginny never came, like Ginny never joined them. And he's like, oh, she's probably at Madame Puttyfoot's making out with Dean. And then he's like all mad about it. And I was like, Harry, this is not, shut up. Like, shut up your internal mind. I was just like, you're so annoying. Then they overhear Katie and her friend arguing about something. And they're like, their voices are becoming more and more shrill. And then suddenly out of nowhere, Katie rises into the air very gracefully after Leanne like tries to pull something out of her hands. And her hair is like whipping all around her. Yeah. Her hair is like whipping all around her. And her eyes are closed and her face is like emotionless. But then suddenly her eyes like flare open. She's like screaming bloody murder. And then Leanne, her friend, is like, well, I don't know when we found out her name's Leanne. I think we heard her say Leanne no or something.
Yeah,
so we know her name's Leanne at this point. Her friend Leanne screams as well and like grabs onto her ankle to try and pull her back down. And I just want to say, this is like the most me thing. If like Adam, if you flew up into the air, I would literally just be like, no, come down, no, stop. Like I just would be like,
to reiterate,
Katie
Bell comes into the air gracefully, hair whipping around, and then she goes, "Is this the thing I get for putting you bitches on?"
It's Nymphia Wind's song. Now
Yes.
she is the queen of wind. Ah, ah. That's the yelling. That's the screaming.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, so Leanne is just fully holding on to her leg, like trying to get her to come back down because she doesn't know what else to do. And I was like, me, especially when I was 15, fully me. Just be like, come back. No, stop. The trio like runs forward. They're trying to help too. Katie does end up like coming down from being like levitated into the air and falls on top of them, but is like continuing to like writhe around and scream.
Yeah.
So Harry just takes charge, typically as Harry does, and he's like, stay here, I'll go get help. So they stay with her, all three of them. He runs towards the castle, trying to figure out like who he's going to try and get to help, and then immediately runs into Hagrid. Hagrid starts going on about how he just saw Grop.
Hagrid now is not the time.
Like, no one cares. Like,
No one
something
cares about
happened, Hagrid. And so he's like, Hagrid, someone's like been cursed. Like someone's screaming and writhing on the ground. We got to go back. Oh no, he says someone's been hurt. That's what he says. Someone's been hurt. And then he's like, who? Ron or Hermione? Hagrid's like, is it one of them? And Harry's like, no, someone's been cursed. It's Katie Bell. And so then they run back.
Yeah.
Katie's still
all
like
this
writhing.
extra fucking security, and there's nobody on the walk between.
Where did Tonks go? Tonks, where are you?
Anybody?
Aren't you just supposed to be like tailing Harry Potter basically all the time?
They're like perched at Hogwarts and they're perched at Hogsmeade, but the big old walk between, they're just like, I'm just fine.
Open season. Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. And so they get back to where Katie is, and Leanne and Ron and Hermione are all still trying to like comfort her and stuff, but she's just inconsolable basically. So Leanne says that like something awful happened to her. Hagrid just kind of looks at her for a minute and then immediately just picks her up and runs as fast as he can back to the school.
That's so scary.
I don't know why, but for some reason, whenever Hagrid like carries a student or helps in that way, like how he helped Malfoy and stuff like that, it's always like so sweet because giants have such a reputation for being so like violent and destructive.
Yeah.
And Hagrid being the gentle giant that is
carrying one.
Yes,
Mhm.
like, and obviously later with Harry, the significance of him carrying like Harry, thinking he's already passed away, blah blah. But I just always think it's so
him
sweet.
being he carries Harry out of the house.
Yes, the house.
When he
He
originally
just, like,
saves him. Yeah.
Yes, from like the very first time we're introduced to Hagrid till the end, he's just the gentle giant, and I love that.
He's the protector. Yeah.
Yeah. So he carries Katie up to the school. Hermione goes to comfort Leanne. We learn that this started because like they were fighting over the package, and Katie must have accidentally touched whatever was in the package. So they go to look at it, and what's in the package, or like the wrappings, is ornate necklace.
A gorgeous Chanel necklace. It's got bejeweled diamonds encrusted, princess cut.
Diamond encrusted, shimmering in the sleet.
Yes.
And so Ron goes to pick it up, and I was like, Ron.
Carrot.
What?
Diamond.
Oh, diamonds. Oh, yeah.
Stupid.
How many carrots? 17 carrots.
17.
Yeah. 17.
So dumb. 17.
And then Ron goes to pick it up. And I was like, Ron, this is why you didn't get any exceeds expectations on your like common sense. Hello. Then Harry's like, no, like, don't touch it. There could be something wrong with it. So Katie apparently told Leanne that she was taking the package up to the castle to give it to someone as a surprise, like a surprise gift. And then Katie was talking kind of funny. And so Leanne was like arguing with her because she was like, you shouldn't just take this thing that you don't know anything about up to the castle. Right. It's dangerous. And then she says, when she's like talking to Hermione and Ron and Harry, she's like, she was probably imperious and like, I didn't realize. Yeah. And so she's just like devastated. I feel so really
bad for Leanne in this whole situation. Just like being a part of it, but being fully like you would have so much regret of being like, oh, I could have done something, but I didn't realize.
And she tried to like take it away she physically tried to take it away from her too. So she really tried to like tell her friend or protect her friend from doing anything bad. But yeah, just unfortunately Katie touched it. So Harry ends up wrapping the necklace up so like his fingertips don't touch it in a scarf. And then he's like, we should probably show it to Madame Pomfrey. And I was like, Madame Pomfrey? I mean, I would have said like, we need to show it to Dumbledore, but all right. Or even Snape, because he's the Defense Against the Dark Arts professor. Or
McGonagall. Like there are a few people in line ahead of
Madame Pomfrey. I was like,
Tonks.
She's not really gonna know. Yeah, just like anyone in the order, pretty much.
Why is Madame Pomfrey not in the order?
She don't got time for that girl. They're overworking her. She's like, I don't need to be involved in anything else. This is a full-time job and a half.
I'm busy.
Yeah, I'm doing enough, girl. Minnie was like, do you want to join with me? And she was like, Minnie, I love you and I will always be here for you, but I can't add that to my plate.
No.
You got to do this one alone, girl.
I've got a lot going on personally right now in my life.
I've got a lot.
I'm really going through something right now.
Poppy's like, you let me know when you want to come join me over here now that Albus is shirking his headmaster responsibilities. Okay, girl? I'll have a nice little pot of tea.
You can leave the order whenever you want. You can leave the order whenever you want.
Yeah.
Girl.
She's like, I'll be sitting there ready with a cuppa or something stronger.
Cuppa.
And so then as they're walking back up, Harry's like, I remember this necklace from Borgin and Burke's. I remember it. McGonagall meets them at the entrance hall. They show her like wrapped up that this was the thing that Katie touched. Filch rushes forward to like do his little scanning. He's like, I imagine it's like a curling iron. He's like,
yes, that's literally, or like a TSA wand.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And so it's like, oh yeah, okay. I just lost my place. Yeah. So they're like, no, or McGonagall's like, no, they're with me. It's fine. And then they're like, oh yeah, this is the necklace. So she's like, Filch, don't touch this, but can you take it to Snape? And I was like, yeah, see, she knows. She's like, take it to the Defense Against the Dark Arts professor. So Minnie, oh yeah, I switched from calling her McGonagall to Minnie in my notes because I was like, I love calling her Minnie. Minnie asks them what happened, and Leanne does her best to like tell her through her tears because she's just like inconsolable still. And then after she's like finished telling the story, Minnie's like, okay, you can go to the hospital wing and ask for something for the shock. Mm-hmm. Just so you'll, kind of like calm down.
What do you think she gives her? A lemon drop martini? What do you think she gives her?
That's what I was trying to think. Like, I was like, is she going to give her just like chamomile tea, but like a magical version of that? So she's like, she gives her a Xanax.
She gives her a Xanax. This is actually not magic, but really the muggles have it figured out, sister.
If you want to instantly feel at ease, here you go. I'll never forget when it was didn't Allie give Miranda a Xanax at your wedding?
Yes.
I'll never forget. I can't remember if it was a Xanax. It was something else. Similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something similar. Is Prozac? Is Prozac similar to that? Or is Prozac consistent? You take Prozac consistently? I think it was Xanax. I think it was. I'll have to ask Miranda. But yeah, so Leanna's sent off to the hospital wing to recoup, to recover. And then Minerva's like, what happened when she touched the necklace exactly? And so they're like, well, she rose into the air and began to scream. And then Harry's like, I really need to see Dumbledore. Where is he? And Minerva's like, oh, he's not going to be back until Monday. And Harry's like, oh my God. He's just like so shocked by this. So then she's like, but you can tell me. Minerva's like, I can hear whatever you wanted to tell him. And Harry's like, Harry hesitates for a moment. But then he does tell her, he's like, I think that Draco Malfoy gave her that necklace. And Ron and Hermione are both like,
sorry, that was just a cough.
just
I
like,
also have a cough today.
Yeah, there's like, I don't know him. And she's like, that's a very serious accusation. And he's like,
based on,
okay, I'll just tell you,
truly circumstantial evidence.
Yeah,
like the
like
most
not
circumstantial
of evidence
in the world.
So he tells her the story about like what they saw him doing in Diagon Alley. She like kind of questions him, and she's asking the right questions because she's trying to like get to to see if there's any actual proof, and he doesn't have any. Like he just
part of his accusation is based on evidence that he saw Malfoy look at this necklace 4 years ago.
Back in second year, I was hiding in a cupboard and I saw him pointing at it.
Do you remember the year the Chamber of
ago.
Secrets opened? Well, guess what also happened that year,
Guess
girl?
what also happened that year?
Minnie, let me tell you what.
Yeah. And so Hermione's like, but I went into Borgin and Burke's and I asked about that necklace, and he told me that like it was for sale. So he wasn't saving that for Draco. And then Harry's like, yeah, but you were being really obvious. So he knew what you were up to probably like right away. And then Minerva's like, can you please stop talking? I'm not going to have y'all like arguing in my office here, okay? Stupid. So she's like, I appreciate you telling me, Potter, but I can't really like go anywhere with that there's not actual proof that he's the one to blame. And she also is like, I don't think the necklace actually would have gotten in here too, by the way. I think it would have been spotted before it actually got into the castle, which I was like, okay, cool. But it's still like hurt a student at Hogsmeade. So that didn't really like, I was like, okay, cool. But it's still, a student was still affected in Hogsmeade by this.
There's also a part where they're like, because remember Draco said that he can't carry it around in Diagon Alley because he like would look stupid with it, and Hermione's like, he'd look stupid with something that if it's big and cumbersome, not a fucking necklace. And Ron's like, well, he would look like a bit of a prat with a necklace. And I was like, is everyone here stupid that it would be in a box, in a bag?
It would be covered. Like how it was covered when she was carrying it. It was like in a case or something.
He's not going to carry it around like it's like, just carrying around a necklace.
No one can touch it. It has to be wrapped up. No one can physically touch it.
Even if it was not cursed and you could touch it, nowhere in the world are they going to sell you a necklace and be like, you don't need a bag or you want to pay for the box? And they go, no, I don't want to pay for the box. I'll just carry it out. Little Claire's chain.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Stupid. So yeah, Minerva's like, I don't think it would have even got into the castle anyway, like gotten past our security systems we have in place now. And then she also, this is like the first time I don't agree with something Minerva McGonagall has done. I don't care that she told them that he wasn't in Hogsmeade today. I don't even care that she told them that he had a detention. If she was like, he wasn't in Hogsmeade because he had a detention today. It was the fact that she disclosed that he hadn't turned in his homework for like the last 2 sessions or whatever. I was like, I don't think she would do that. I actually don't think that she would share like a personal information like that about a student. I was like, that's very out of character for her because she's just so everything needs to be by the book, and that's like a what do you call it? Breach of like professor student confidentiality.
But wouldn't they all be in the same class?
No, they don't necessarily take the class with Slytherins.
But I feel like once you're past owl level, heading into advanced transfiguration, there's only
Maybe.
one sixth year. I don't know.
Maybe, but they still wouldn't know if he's not handing his homework in. Only she knows that because she's the professor.
But she points that out specifically to point out that he's like shirking his like academic.
Yeah,
duties,
it's plot.
Like, yeah,
it's plot.
He's very busy.
Oh wait, what did you say?
He's very busy. He's become a maintenance employee. He's
so busy.
He's doing some work. He's fixing things.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like, Minnie sharing Draco's business about not doing his homework. Damn. I was like, all right, girl. So then they leave the office.
Minnie is
like
the type of teacher to fully do the like. She gives everybody in the class back their papers, but like your paper, she's gonna turn over before she hands it to you. To be like,
face down.
I'm gonna cover up that it's an F, but because she only did it to your paper, it's clear to
everyone
the room
still knows.
You got a bad grade.
Yeah. I know you got to do it the same. You got to do it. Everyone needs to get their paper given back the same way.
Equity. Yeah.
So they're on their walk back to the common room. They're theorizing who the necklace was for. They're like Dumbledore, Slughorn. Hermione's like, maybe for you, Harry. Harry's still on about Malfoy, even though he wasn't in Hogsmeade. Harry's like, well, he probably has an accomplice. And then Ron and Hermione like look at each other basically to be like, there's no point. Like, it's just, he's not going to listen to us. So there's a bunch of people already back in the common room because obviously Hogsmeade was like a mess today. Like it wasn't very fun to be there. So everyone's there, but it seems like no one is aware of what's happened yet because there's not like a hush or people aren't like gossiping or questioning them when they come in. So they go and sit down. Ron like kicks a first year out of a chair. Then Hermione kicks Ron out of the chair to let the first year sit back in the chair. And then the chapter ends with Harry still not letting go this theory that he has about Malfoy. He's just hyper fixated.
He's a dog with a bone. Yeah. This is very purposeful because she has now spent 5 books in which Harry constantly is like, it's Snape, it's Snape, it's Snape, it's Snape, it's Snape. So then the book where it is Snape, you can't pretend that it's going to be Snape the whole book. So she has to like use Malfoy to be like, it's Malfoy, 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 Malfoy. And then guess what, girl? It is technically Malfoy, but it really is Snape at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's both.
But it is.
What if you knows?
But it is Malfoy. Harry's right. Harry is actually right for once.
Harry is right, and no one will listen because they can't believe that. He said there's earlier in the chapter they have that conversation about like, well, anybody could have done it for Malfoy, like Crabbe or Goyle.
Yeah, that's what he's like. He has an accomplice.
Yeah, Crabbe or Goyle are not. I mean, Harry. Crabbe or Goyle.
That's putting a lot of faith in a couple of idiots.
A ding dongs. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's the chapter.
There's also the conversation when they're talking about the Half-Blood Prince earlier in the chapter where Hermione's like, I think he could be a Death Eater. And they're like, there's no way someone who's not full blood would be part of Voldemort's gang.
Oh, yeah.
All know that Voldemort is a half-blood.
He himself
know this.
Yeah.
Oh my god, everyone is so stupid. It's incredible. It's incredible that anything gets done in this wizarding world.
Yeah.
All right, well that wraps up this chapter. Next week we'll be reading chapter 13 called The Secret Riddle. You can find the podcast. Oh, we don't have any comments from the last week's chapter.
No comments.
You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts, as well as video versions on the Ampliverse YouTube channel and on Spotify. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so that we can get a perfect Newt score, 5 stars only, or else you'll be writhing in the air, giving the performance of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HBAnxious or YouTube and TikTok at The Ampliverse. We are hosted on Spotify for podcasters, so thank you to them and are a proud member of The Ampliverse. Please check them out at theampliverse.com. Thank you, Ariana.
Thank you, Adam.
And as always, Levicorpus!
No, nonverbal.
And as always...